Welcome to the Third Degree Masonic Podcast, where we are always on the level. We're your hosts. I'm Brother Samuel.
I'm Brother Gabriel.
And I'm Brother Ryan.
And we're just a bunch of Freemasons trying to find our place in this fraternity. Welcome back to the show, Craftsman. We hope you enjoyed our previous episode where I was stuck in the hot seat. This week for you, we're just having a little bit of technical difficulties, and we are doing some more historical research on a very interesting topic that we look forward to sharing with you very soon. It's one that's very near and dear to Brother Gabriel's heart.
Thank you. I don't like trains. I like boats.
There's your hint, Craftsman. So we decided that another certain host of ours just came back from a pretty large event here in the state of Ohio. And we figured maybe we would pick his brain about it and see what he thinks. And maybe
Cross Quills.
Cross Quills. And maybe talk about and bring some light to the most underappreciated person in your lodge, probably.
Fair enough.
So,
Go ahead, fire away.
Brother Ryan, you are...
confirm nor deny anything. So this is going to be a short episode.
You are in the secret society of Freemasons who are secretaries of their lodge.
I wouldn't say it's a secret society, but I would say it's a society on itself.
Yeah, I believe that. And you just came back from, what was it called?
So the association is called the Cross Quills, but everyone really just says the Secretaries Association, because I think the full word, and some of the brothers that are probably members of it will correct me, is the Cross Quills Secretaries Association. But that's a mouthful, and one usually picks the front or the back.
So essentially, it's all of the secretaries in the state of Ohio that are secretaries of lodges. They all meet at one point in time, theoretically, kind of a workshop think tank?
So, yes and no. They're supposed to. Just like normal lodges, the association has annual meetings. They do have regular, I don't want to say stated meetings, but regularly occurring meetings once a month. Well, technically twice a month. One time, they happen on the same day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. They cover the same exact things just to help the brothers that, hey, I gotta go into work real early, but I'm available in the afternoon, or hey, I work third shift, I can't be in the afternoon, but I can be in the morning, kind of thing. The meeting I went to was the annual meeting, which, just like inspection, it's, okay, where are we with A, B, C, D, A, B, C?
So it's kind of like a Grand Lodge of Secretaries.
More or less, yes.
Makes sense. Annual communication, everybody comes together.
So, important question. Did you see the Ken Chamberlain while you were there?
The Ken Chamberlain. I don't believe I
The
did.
secretary from the Grand Lodge of Findlay in the 10th District.
Now we're in trouble.
Those
are jokes, people.
73 secretaries there. I could name 3.
Including
2.
yourself?
That's where I'm going back and forth between 2 and 3. Sometimes I don't know which one is coming out. So,
Was
2 or
it
3.
fun, though? Did you have fun?
Me and my wife went down there Friday after work, and we stayed the weekend. That portion, sorry, my wife and I, sorry, thank you for correcting the secretary, definitely will not be portrayed in the minutes. But we made a weekend trip out of it, which I'm grateful we did, because that portion was fun. Not saying the association wasn't fun, but
It's work.
it 100%. It's a business meeting. It's as fun as, okay, let's talk about our annual return. Let's talk about the meeting minutes. Let's talk about how we can do better and stuff. It's great to see like brothers in the same great room, and talking and going back and forth and stuff. But like Sam said, it's a business meeting. It started at 7 a.m., 7:30.
Yeah, I was awake when
Yeah.
you were there and you were texting me during it.
Yeah.
So
I had to
I was at work.
of course, fashionably late. So they had, I think, breakfast and coffee from 7 to 8:30 when the meeting officially started. I got there at 7:45, 7:50 because I was like, I want to sleep in. It's my day off, and I don't really care for coffee and donuts. Like, I'll grab whatever scrap, and there was a donut left, so I grabbed it.
Nice. Was it useful, do you think?
Yeah, I would say so. It helped me in certain aspects, and then other aspects it was just kind of like, okay, I already knew this, or I could deal without. But I'm also coming from a background where I'm very prepared. I very much research and understand secretaries on the face surface. Like I said before, there's so much behind the scenes that I didn't even realize, but that's where I have to take everything with a grain of salt with the Secretaries Association annual meeting, is because it's like, I already knew this. Why are we talking about this? But then I have to remember, hey, not everyone is as prepared as you are. Not everyone is an engineer background. So I could see where there's benefits here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think it's interesting you say that, because I remember last year when, we were trying to figure out who was going to do secretary when Brother Radosi left.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, well, I'll do it. And then I looked at you and I was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to do it? Yeah, no big deal. It's just taking, notes and writing down what happened in the meeting. And I'm like, no, it's not.
That's why I couldn't do it.
And we all tried to explain to you, it's a lot more than that. You're like, no, I got this. And I don't think it hit you until we did pre-inspection this year that you, the Right Worshipful Brother Williams came in and was like, hey, I need this and this and this and this. And you just were like, oh, I have to have that?
Yeah.
So
and that's where you are 100% correct. It did, because everyone was like, hey, do you have all the pre-inspection stuff done? And I was like, what, the meeting minutes from last year? Yeah, Joe did all those. And then Brother Williams came in and was like, okay, here's this 4-page report that you need to fill out. You got everything. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And the problem with that wasn't, we were organized, we were good. Problem is I was taking over from someone else. So I had to figure out their method.
Right.
And figure out their notes and where they stored stuff. Where this year, and me and my wife my wife and I, sorry, Brother Gabriel.
You're welcome.
Have talked about this. I know this year is going to be a lot better for 2 reasons. One, I'm going off of my own notes, so I already know where everything's saved. And then the second thing, and this is a full-on shout-out to Brother Williams, he has done an amazing job this year. Not necessarily coaching me, but just checking in on me, making sure I'm good, making sure I'm tracking the right stuff, asking me questions like, is there anything you need help with? Is Mark and Charlie helping you out? What's your guys' lodge looking like? And he's made sure that I'm still on top of the ball throughout.
That's because he's a good guy and a great district guy. Like, I know, Sam, sometimes you have your gripes about the district, but he is the type of person you want in the district.
I hate the game, not the player.
Yes. Yeah. And
players, I should say. That's probably the better way to put it.
Yeah.
Just don't like the game, hate the play. I love the players, but
which I can understand that.
But no, he has been. He bent over backwards to help me in my term.
Absolutely.
As worshipful master, he has been amazing at helping you with secretary stuff. And I will tell you what, Ryan, as much crap as I give you sometimes, you are doing a pretty good job as secretary.
Better than I could do.
Better than I could do. Because I wanted to do it, but I am not at a point in my life right now where I could.
It is a lot. And, going through, I'll say my way of going through line, because I went from Tyler to senior deacon to senior steward to now secretary. So that's a weird ass line. But
zigzag.
Yeah. I call it the lightning bolt line. Because of other reasons that I can't say on air. But anyways, shoot, I forgot where I was going. Oh, I always thought, there's only 2 officers in the whole lodge that get paid for making sure everything's right and whatnot. It's not loads of money, and it's not worth oh, hey, I can quit my job and do this full time. It's not. It's just a little bit. But I always thought, that is so weird. All they do is take meeting minutes and transfer money back and forth. But going through it, I'm like, oh, this is why. Because there will be times when our treasurer, he's traveling all the time, so I don't blame him. He's in Grand Lodge. He'll message me, hey, can you make a voucher for this? We need to get this bill squared away that you didn't make up. Or the worshipful master, Charlie, will be texting me, hey, do you have this prepared and this? And it'll be 8, 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday. I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to get this ready for Tuesday's meeting. And I'll be typing it up, and I'm like, it is a full-time job.
Yeah.
You never stop. Like, you stop being secretary for 5 minutes after the stated meeting because you get that.
On to the next one.
Okay, now we gotta prepare for the next one. But I always just was like, wow, this is so weird. Now, low hindsight or whatever, looking into the future, I still am like, I'm not going to accept Lodge's money on the work I personally signed up for.
Right.
I'm going to do something else with that money. And that's a little sneak peek at, if you're in Genoa Lodge, what I'll do with it.
Cool.
But
Well,
yeah.
I think that's very noble of you to do that, because if you have the idea that you took this on voluntarily without any expectation of reimbursement, and you're going to invest that reimbursement back into the lodge, I think that's one of the most noble things I've ever heard from you. And I really like that. So,
and that's not my way of trying to take a shot at all the other secretaries or treasurers and be like, you guys should be doing this. No, that's my belief.
because it's
one person in this whole world.
and it's also what you've judged that your lodge needs.
Yes.
And that is the job of the secretary too, is that you are helping your lodge and making sure you have recorded what your lodge needs and have expressed what your lodge needs and communicates what your lodge needs.
I also see it as kind of a thank you back to the lodge, saying thank you for working with me this year while I learn all these ropes that I didn't even know existed.
Well, and it's interesting to me. So you probably have the most versatile, that's probably the wrong word, but so yeah, you're taking a meeting notes, you're writing it down, you got to go home and you got to put it into your little formula thing, and you pump us out a thing of notes and we read them the next meeting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if I was doing something for the Royal Schofield Society and I needed you to look up when I was initiated, passed, and raised, I call you and you get that too.
Yeah.
You have the most multifaceted job
That's
in lodge.
That's the right word.
And
interesting, this week we had a funeral.
Yes.
Unfortunately, and
yeah.
brother passed away. You had to get his certificate.
Yep.
All taken care of. And but being new, you didn't know how to do that. And you were scrambling in our group chat like, hey, where do I find it? Where do I do this? And luckily we have guys that have done this that were
for
actually
multiple years.
happy to help you.
Hey,
it was all taken care of.
Go to this in Grandview, print this off, fill in his stuff, and I was able to do that. And then I took the stamped everything, got them in frames, and I was just like,
Did you go to the funeral?
I did go to the funeral.
I'm sorry I couldn't go, but I was injured. I was at the urgent care, so
sorry to hear that.
no, I hope that it was a good send off for our brother.
Yeah, it was. As Brother DeLong, he was there also. And I felt the same thing as we're doing the, I don't know what it's called, last ritual for the brother, if you want to call it that. I think I'm messing that up. But there was so much emotion in that room, not just from the Masons that were there, but from the family, the friends, the veterans. And you could just feel it in the air where you were standing there, and you almost got teary-eyed just feeling it. And it was just like, this is how you say goodbye to a brother. This is
how it should be.
Yes. I don't want to say it's right, but it's definitely like we gave him the best honor we could.
Well, and it's your last rites as a Mason.
And I'm really sorry I couldn't be there.
No,
I really wish I could have.
I wish I could have too. I was stuck at work and couldn't get out. So
and that's the biggest problem with funerals that are during the week, is because, as all the listeners know and you guys know, funerals are always last minute.
Right. No
one's like, okay, on Thursday at 4:30 he's going to pass away, so the following Tuesday we'll no one knows that.
Right.
So it's always like, okay, how many people can and
I'll tell you what, this this goes into what we were talking about of your job as a secretary. You took the task of needing to get his Masonic record roll.
Yep.
And you didn't know how to do it, but you figured out how to do it, which is part of your training as an engineer. But
make it work.
Yeah.
But also why you're a good fit for secretary, I think.
So I have a question.
All right.
Just to get us off the somber topic.
I also have another topic, but continue.
So obviously we're talking about training. We're doing, everything. Bar anything major happening, big lifestyle changes, something like that. Do you think that you will be secretary for a number of years?
Wholeheartedly.
You think you'll be around?
As long as the lodge is willing to have me continue screwing up the meeting minutes, I will continue screwing them up. No, I find the joy in it because, I get to do more Excel spreadsheets, which is my favorite thing to do. I get to...
You and my wife would get along.
I get to do the records. I get to talk to all these brothers. I get to talk to other lodges. I get to, feel like I'm actually part of something. I felt that way in the other offices that I was in, or along the sidelines and stuff. But this way, it gives me something to do, and it cures that itch where I'm like, and also I get a nice desk, and I get to sit up in the east. Which
you have
is
the
great.
comfiest chair in the lodge, and that's because your chair is not 100 years old.
Yes.
It's a modern day desk chair.
Yeah. So,
however, one gripe I'm going to give at you at secretary, stop printing stuff in the middle of the meeting while
Listen,
talking.
I forgot how slow our printer is, and Brother Wilburn, you were giving a presentation, and I was like, I'll print it so that we can hand it out. And I hit print. I'm like, why is that not printing? 10 minutes later, Gabe is 100% right. It just, and I'm like, sorry guys, I don't know how to turn off the printer either. So for the next 5 minutes while he's in the middle of a presentation, that's all you hear from the east. Charlie was looking at me like, what are you trying to do right now? I was like, I'm sorry. And worst of all, it didn't even print right. It zoomed all the way in so you couldn't read anything.
Trials and tribulations of the secretary.
Yeah.
You could write a book.
I have to tell you, I think every secretary and every lodge has a quirk. So at Northern Light, our secretary, I'm just blanking on his name right now. I cannot. No, before Nick.
Oh God,
the older gentleman.
He
had to have been doing the secretary job. He has since passed, but he had to have been doing the secretary job for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
When I joined, he was very up there in age, and he definitely was doing that as a labor of love because nobody else was ready to take it over. But I just remember he would be in the middle of the degree work. You would have the lights down, people are walking around, and he just was unable to not do something. Like he couldn't wait till later. So you'd be in the middle of walking around the lodge doing ritual work, and you just hear him open a file cabinet.
Yep.
Slide it in, and he'd look around like, oh, did anybody notice? And then he'd go.
Meanwhile, we've all stopped what we're doing,
staring at him.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, we're like, just close it. He's like, we're like, you're not fixing your case. Put some WD-40 on it. But I just remember that, and it cracks me up even to this day because it was still so funny. But you printing in the middle of meetings,
I was like,
he would file cabinet.
Sorry, Sam. Sorry. But on the other topic that I was going to talk about before we started talking about that, on a brighter note, so we just talked about, unfortunately, a brother passing at the end of his Masonic career. One thing I found out, because we had a prospect, is the worship master, secretary, and the prospect manager are the three officers that get notified when we have a new candidate, before it even goes to the officers or the brothers. So we get to see how this person petitioned, when they did, where they live, if they fill that out, how to contact them.
Who's
and
our prospect manager?
Ricky.
Oh, that's right.
Yep, he took that over from Mark a few years back.
So, but I got an email from Grand Lodge, and I was just talking to you guys 2 days ago. What the heck's happened in 2 days? And I saw it, and I was like, oh, shoot, I got to jump on this now. Because one thing with new members is you don't want to just be like, this can wait.
Yeah, you can't wait on it.
No. So that's one thing. It's like, I get to see the brothers as they take their first steps, even before the officers or the members.
Before we've met them.
Yeah. Like, so, and that's where it's kind of like, well, this is kind of nifty. Like,
yeah, I would argue debatably, the secretary is probably the most important position in the lodge room.
Yeah.
Because you are the foundation of sitting in that chair. You will be here this year, next year, the following year. I mean, until you are unelected or you decide you don't want to do it anymore. But that master seat will change.
Mm-hmm.
You will not.
So
masters come and go. The secretary is forever.
Forever.
So
secretary.
Funny you both mentioned that, because that was the running joke at the association is, oh, well, your term is up at the end of time plus 10 years. So you may no longer be secretary of your lodge, but you're still secretary of the lodge. You're still that bank of knowledge.
Well, you're still messaging Charlie and Mark and asking them secretary questions.
I mean,
we're not secretaries anymore.
Charlie, right before this meeting, hey, I'm looking at doing this. What are your thoughts? And Charlie messaged me back. Obviously, we're doing a recording, so I can't be like, hey, pause this. I need a text.
Well, he would want you to. We could pause the recording for the Charles R. Murphy.
Yeah, we could, but
no, put him on speakerphone.
Put him on speakerphone. It's fine.
But the other portion of funny you guys bring that up is so I was able to not personally talk to, but see and listen to the Grand Master, Brother Charter. Carter, not Charter. Brain.
Charter.
Yeah, changing your last name. I'm sorry about that, brother. But so all of the Grand Lodge officers were present. They got introduced and stuff, and I thought that was kind of cool. They also had I want to say it's the 14th District's Grand Master's reception that night. So that's not saying that's the only reason they were there. It was probably like, hey, two birds, one stone.
They do that here for our Grand Master's reception too.
So,
they do the pancake breakfast and they do. I think there's a reconsecration for Oak Harbor this year.
Yeah,
and the Grand Master's going to be in North.
It's going to be a busy Saturday here in the 11th District.
Yeah,
I think there's 4 things going on that day.
Yeah, and they are just carpooling. So they do try to do that. They do try to stack their events so that way they're just getting the most bang for their buck. Because I know they're Cleveland area, Columbus area is usually where they're coming from. They don't want to drive up here multiple times.
Yeah,
they are.
That's a long drive.
Yeah.
So, but
they're booked out to 2042 when Samuel Wilburn becomes Grand Master.
That will be brought up when we do talk to Brother Carter. Just so you know.
My God.
But so, like everywhere, he gave a speech.
Mm-hmm.
That was the very first time I've seen the Grand Master give a speech, and I obviously during the business meeting I zone in and out. I'm taking notes and going through the motion. When he was giving a speech, I couldn't take a note because I was so wowed by his speech. And not like, oh, he was saying all these great things. It's the way he controls the room. So obviously you go anywhere, there's a podium, there's a microphone, they're sitting there talking behind the, not really moving, maybe moving their hands. He not only didn't use the podium, he had a handheld mic. He was walking up and down the aisles, not yelling at us, but encouraging us, saying,
man, he Joel Osteen'd you.
He was amazing. And he was telling us, I have a friend that's not a Mason. And I was explaining to him what Masonry is and what happens in lodge meetings without revealing too much and stuff. And his friend said, how in the world are you guys still going where you guys replace your CEO every single year? And he goes, easy. We have a great officer that does not change every year, the secretary. The secretary's duty is to record the meeting minutes, understand what's going on, and then take ideals from the worshipful master that's happened past and present them to the new worshipful master. Hey, this is what we've done before. This is what we like. This is what didn't work out. This is how I recommend you running the show. And then take their ideals, put it into their records, and go with the flow. So what was it? He called us the COOs, Chief Operating Officer of the lodge. And this friend of his was like, that makes 100%. Like, that's amazing because you get brand new ideals every single year from new CEOs, but your COO is still there running the show.
Absolutely.
And he was saying, I could sit up here and talk to you guys about how secretaries are the most important job and say the same exact things you guys have heard thousands of times. I'm not going to do that, though, because you all know it. And I could sit here until I'm blue in the face, but you all are going to start ignoring me. I want to talk about other things. And he controlled it. I wish I had his speech memorized. But the other thing that I noticed is he didn't have a sheet of paper.
Nope.
He wasn't walking around. He had little, and I'm talking little, index cards, almost the size of like a sticky note. And he had maybe 3 of them. And he would look at it, know exactly where he's going, and give a speech for 5 minutes.
That's something I aspire to.
I just have to say, though, I know you met him when we were installed.
Yes.
And we watched him speak at Grand Lodge when he was first elected. I believe he gave a speech after he was elected and installed.
Mm-hmm.
You get why I like him so much.
Yeah, I'm like,
the man commands a presence without being
mean or dictatorial.
Yeah, he's got charisma, man.
He does. He's got charisma.
You can understand why he's the Grandmaster and why everybody. And for those of you that are not listening from Ohio, the Grandmasters are, every year we have a new one. I will say that this year something special, I think, happened. And I think that Most Worshipful Brother Carter is he's definitely helped change the tone in the region.
Mm-hmm.
And people are very excited to follow his leadership this year.
I would follow that man to the moon and back.
Amen to that, brother.
I'll kind of pause here just in case I'm not allowed to say these next words and we have to cut it. But his motto, his phrase of don't just be Masons, be legendary. I finally understood that at the Secretaries Association after watching his speech or listening to his speech and then talking to you, is he's not just saying like, oh, hey, do the same things over and over and call it legendary. As you said, and I wholeheartedly believe it after listening to his speech, he's saying go outside the box, do something new, do something exciting, and then call it legendary.
Correct.
And
not everything we do, not the procedural. Your inspection is not legendary. Your yearly meeting is not legendary. But going out into the community and feeding 5,000 homeless orphans, that's legendary.
Yes.
And I think what he's trying to tell us is don't just go through the motions. Don't just be a meeting Mason. Don't be a mom. Be a legendary Mason. Make your mark in the history books. At least make a mark in your own head, in your own history book, that you did something great. And I think he pushes us towards that, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I like the phrase you just used there is marking in the book, which is exactly your job as secretary. Yep. So brother secretary, I challenge you to be extraordinary.
I just challenge you to be adequate. Okay, that's all I'm challenging you to do.
I challenge you to be legendary in your scribing for the lodge.
I mean,
draw pictures,
and I hate patting myself on my back or trying to praise myself up, but I think with the meeting minutes I've taken, I think I've done a great job this year, and I look forward to continuing doing it. I take criticism. I take notes. Hey, why don't you do it this way? Why don't we change this? Because there's no way I'm going to get better without someone telling me. I can keep doing the same thing over and over again. I'm never going to be legendary if someone doesn't push me.
I like that. And The thing is, though, Sam and I, we talk in the intro about us being Masons wanting to find our place.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've found your place.
I think I do too.
I think you've found your place in this fraternity, and it's nice to see that. It's nice to see that for a brother, and
I'm just glad I didn't have to do it for your year.
wow, thanks for the vote of confidence
God,
there.
you guys would have fought like children out there. We all would have just sat here awkwardly.
Let's be honest, Gabe. We wouldn't have gotten shit done that year.
Probably not.
Yeah. Like
let's cut to the chase here.
Yeah, I have something in my drawer that I've been itching to use on you during state meeting when you keep talking for too long. But I'm like, no, it's not right, and I have to decock it.
It's your Nerf whistle gun.
Yes, 100%. And I'm like, oh.
I just want you to know that our secretary is packing in his desk.
Not lethal. Just a Nerf gun before anyone is like, oh, you're not allowed to have this.
And a Nerf gun is not offensive or defensive.
It's sure
It's
annoying.
Nerf or nothing.
It is Nerf or nothing.
So,
Yeah, he has shot it across the room a couple of times and somebody won't shut up. I love it.
Yep.
It's great.
So,
Can you consider that legendary? Is
I
that
would-
being legendary?
I don't think it's legendary, but it sure is cool. But so, Ryan, I'd like to end this one for you on a much more optimistic note. What would you say to somebody that's considering being the secretary of their lodge? Maybe not now, maybe not next year, but like thinks kind of like you, like, I think that might be a good spot for me. What would you say to them?
So before I answer that question, because I do want to give one shout out to a brother that I sat next to, and then I'll answer that question. I may need you to reiterate it.
Sure.
But so for those that may not know, I am going through the Royal Schofield Society, slowly but surely. One of the requirements is to read a book and give a book report on it.
Sure.
I chose Building a Successful Lodge by 70 Successful Lodges in Ohio, or something along
And
that
you've
line.
kind of explained this book to me. It's
Yeah.
essentially a blueprint map of, hey, this is how you can take
Yeah,
your lodge
from-
from A to Z.
I've heard about
all
that book.
these
It's
different
pretty good.
brothers and all these lodges, how they believe they've become successful and stuff. And I remember reading it, and I love this book. I still need to do the book report. That's tomorrow's problem. That's what I keep telling myself. But so out in this great room, I saw all these brothers that I didn't know, and I saw an empty chair, and I figured, what, I'm gonna go sit down there, sit next to a brother. Right before the meeting starts, me and him were talking about stuff and what to expect and whatnot, and he reaches over and shakes my hand, and oh shoot, I forgot his name. Holy cow! I want to say it's John. I don't think was it John. Anyways, he goes, "Hey, I'm brother blah 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 from Meridian Sun number 69," and I was like, "Oh, okay. My name's Ryan Turco from Genoa Lodge number 433." And that number and the name like sat in my mind. And I was like, why do I know that? And then he gave me his business card. I'm looking at it. I'm like, how do I know this lodge? Like, not for the obvious, the freaking number and inappropriateness.
Nice.
But I'm like, I know this. So I go through my notes of everything, and it pops up. He's the brother, not the brother that wrote the book, but he's one of the brothers in the book. And he's a member at the lodge where the brother decided to write the book. And so, yeah. And I was like, holy cow. Out of all the brothers to sit next to, I choose the one brother that is attached to this book.
Has inside knowledge. of
Yeah.
that book.
So during our break, I said, hey, do you know this book? And he goes, yeah, I know that book. And he goes, I'm in it. I go, I know you are. And me and him were talking about it. And he goes, yeah, I'm good buddies with the author, and I remember when he was writing the book and stuff, and I was like, holy cow. And I was like, I loved the book, and we started talking about his lodge. Their lodge, for those that do not know, were basically on the verge of shutting their doors forever. They did some drastic stuff, but they are still going strong to this day.
That's awesome.
And that book
That's
is, I think, 4 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, holy cow. I gotta reach out to this brother and thank him again. I haven't just because busyness.
I think you should invite that brother on the show.
I
do too.
I think that, and I think I should.
I think him and the author. If you can get both of them on the show, I think you should do it, and I think that would be an awesome episode.
I do too, and I also thought, depending on where because I haven't looked at how long of a travel it is, I think we should get a few brothers
down there
and go to one of their
down.
meetings.
I'm in.
Yeah,
so
me.
But anyways, shout out to that lodge. Shout out to that brother. Sorry I forgot your name. I'm terrible with names. I have your business card still, and if I could look at my phone and go through my notes, I could find you, but I don't want to take up 10 minutes of me scrolling through 10 pages of notes.
We also put you on the spot tonight.
Yes. So it will be in the description. I promise you that.
I can do that.
But wanted to give that quick shout out. Your question, could you reiterate it?
I can.
Not just me, but for the listeners.
My question is what piece of advice would you give someone that's considering becoming secretary? Maybe not this year, next year, but down the road. Could be next year, but what advice would you give them?
Do not take the lightning route. I 100%, I am a trial by fire. I'm an engineer by trade only, and I was able to land on my feet. Don't recommend it, but shut up, Gabriel. But if you are thinking about becoming secretary next year, following years, whatever, talk to the existing secretary. Or talk to other brothers and be like, hey, I'm really thinking about this. There's something called the assistant secretary, which the only thing that you have is the name itself. You don't have any real power. You're not really supposed to be responsible for anything. But it's almost a shadow program where you could, hey, I really want to learn so that when you are done being secretary, I can take over and it's a smooth transaction. I highly recommend that. I highly recommend getting used to writing on either Google Docs or Microsoft Word, making spreadsheets, and being willing to talk on the phone for 15 minutes at a time. Plus, because I know this is going to be a shocker, a lot of the requirements for being secretary is communication.
Right.
That's a shocker, but I recommend preparing.
So don't rush to it.
Yes.
It's definitely not a job to rush to.
And that's where I'm saying don't take the lightning bolt route that I did. Because it was definitely, hey, here's the deep end. Here's some 2 cement shoes. Good luck swimming. But
you're doing a good job treading water, though.
You are.
The other brothers in the water.
Better than Jimmy
Mark,
Hoffa.
Charlie. We're not going there. Mark, Charlie, Brother Williams, they've all helped me out phenomenally.
So we've spent a long time talking your praise.
Yes,
and no, this isn't going to be a critique or anything. Do you evaluate your job you're doing as secretary well? And how do you think you're going to move forward as secretary? Like, what do you want to see as your future as secretary of this lodge?
So I think I'm doing a fantastic job. Again, I hate.
I agree.
No,
but we'd agree with you.
I agree with that evaluation. You don't have to be humble because you're doing a good job.
For future, that's a good question, and that's a deep question that I don't think I can answer at this time, because I feel like if I did answer it, it would be a half-assed one. And I don't think our listeners really need to hear that. I think they want the truth and stuff. So I think that would be a good follow-up question to a later date. Hey, you've been secretary a year or 2 years or 3 years.
We do a secretary reevaluation after a bad year and blame everything on Ryan.
Everything's Ryan's fault.
Ryan, where did all these meeting minutes notes? I'm ready to answer that question.
Well, I just want to say I thank you for all the hard work you're doing. I know the lodge appreciates it. I know Charlie and Mark appreciate it. And I think I'm excited to see where you go with it. And I'm happy that I think you found your place.
Mm-hmm. I envy that, because I think I've found my place, but I'm still kind of like
toe in the water.
Torrent that's won't shut up from the sideline. Yes, you have. I love you, Brother Gabriel.
I'm not that guy yet. I'm not that guy on the sidelines.
You're getting there, worshipful.
Who won't stop talking yet.
You're getting there, worshipful. It's okay. But on that note, I would like to say that we have some really exciting stuff coming down the pipeline for you, Craftsman.
Do we want to give them little hints or anything?
I
think the anticipation of just saying this is awesome stuff coming.
And I will tell you that one that's coming up very soon. I am not ashamed to talk about it. I am excited to talk about it, and I'm looking forward to having it happen. We've talked about his praise a couple of times on this show, Craftsman, including this episode alone. But we will have the honor of having Most Worshipful Brother Carter, the Grand Master of Masons in Ohio, on our show, coming to you in April. And I am so excited because we have talked about how good of a you just talked about how good of a speaker he is.
Oh, I have some follow-up questions, and I'm
really looking forward to it because
it'll be interesting.
He's the kind of guy. He's not. I would say he's not an ivory tower grandmaster, and I mean that with respect. I think he's a very practical man, and I think he has a lot of esoteric knowledge, though. I think he's very good at doing what he does, and he knows how to get us all. He knows how to get his troops going, and we are all excited. And I have some questions for him that I think will be very interesting for you, Craftsman.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. I've been excited. I've been trying to get him on the show since our installation back in November, and we finally found a time frame for him to come on, and I'm sure he's just as excited to be on as we are to have him.
I can tell you from personal experience, morale lowers quite a bit listening to someone speak that you don't connect with, don't jive with, or don't agree with their message. When you're standing in formation for an hour and a half listening to someone talk who you
100%.
don't like, it can lower your morale quite a bit. But when you're engaged with the person who's giving you that pep talk or boosting your morale that way, and you agree with it and it's done well, it can do wonders.
Well, and I've greatly respected the man. He came up for our installation, and I'm just going to tell you that if I hadn't watched him get installed as our Grand Master, I wouldn't have known he was our Grand Master. He didn't come up here,
with a red carpet and a limo.
He didn't have an entourage with him. He showed up. He was wearing a normal suit that you and I would wear. It wasn't opulent. He came in, we tried to give him the best seat in the house. He wouldn't take it. We tried to serve him his food. He wouldn't let us serve him. He got in line with everybody else. He thanked me. I brought him a pop from the kitchen, and he thanked me, whatever. He said I didn't have to do that. He could have got it himself. He didn't put on his apron until the very last minute. And afterwards he stuck around. He didn't just leave and go out the door.
Yep.
He could have, because he's the Grand Master. He's a busy man. He stuck around and he talked to all of us.
Yeah.
Just picked our brains, what we thought, what we wanted to see happen. And he gave us his honest opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I really valued that. I would never talk badly about anybody who has done the job of Grand Master before. And we've had some really cool ones here from our district. And hopefully we'll have some more really good ones from this lodge alone.
He is definitely making the shoes huge for the next person.
I agree with you. And I think I think he's just, this is the first Grand Master that I've resonated with.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like what he wants is what I want in my soul. So I think this is one of the first ones I've had where I'm like, okay, I could sit down and pick your brain for,
Which I think we're going to do.
We are.
Yeah. So.
And on top of that, I will tell you for the following episode after that, which is really exciting. It's going to be very interesting because there's a lot of information I didn't know about. I will tell you that it involves a very big boat, and I guarantee you've heard it. Does that be appropriate, Brother Gabriel?
I guess that'll suffice.
So I kind of like this new season that we're doing, because if you think about the episodes that we're releasing, we're kind of going around the table. First, you were in the hot seat, Brother Sam.
Yeah.
Then I was in the hot seat. And now it's going to be Gabe's turn.
after we put the Grand Master.
Yeah, the Grand Master.
The
Then
guest, and then
I'm not nervous at all about having the Grand Master on our show.
No.
Not even a
you
little
haven't
bit.
asked to test the calls 4 times in the last 2 days.
Yeah,
has it worked at least?
it's worked. It's great.
Yay!
But even if it doesn't work, I have 3 backup plans. It will work.
And the 4th backup plan is us driving to him.
Correct.
Wow,
That night.
I can't wait.
So, Craftsman, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Third Degree Masonic Podcast. As always, we appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you for the likes, shares, subscriptions. Please share us with your brethren. Please share us with your lodge.
And to any secretaries out there, we do appreciate you.
Absolutely. Craftsman, always remember,
Keep your working tools in order.
and always be,
On the level.
have a great night.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast do not reflect those of the Grand Lodge of Ohio, its officers, or any of its jurisdictions. They only reflect those of the hosts or guests.